Whoop. There, we look kind of live now. Let's light this and make sure. Yes, I am alive. Good day, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Marijuana Man. This is From Under the Influence of Cannabis, if there was any question ever. And yeah, we're here again, coming to you from Vancouver on the Zoom. I don't know, getting pretty close to getting ready to come back to the studio. So maybe next time we'll do that studio thing. Better lighting. I look much taller, I think. So as luck would have it, we're also joined by Mr. Cookie, all the way from the other part of Canada in Ontario.
Hey everybody, welcome from, we'll say Central Ontario, and hope everyone's having a good day. We got a rainstorm here with possible thunder.
A fine weather update from that neck of the woods. Typical weather this time of year out there. Typical here too. Nice sunny day in Vancouver. We've had good summer temperatures and nice clear days. Good for the cannabis crops. 'Tis the season.
'Tis the season, almost harvest season.
'Tis the season for the cops to be flying around in fucking helicopters looking for your weed so they can easily find it and put stuff in the newspaper. But the millions of plants they busted. But I do see recently some pretty sizable raids and busts going on.
There was one near
Peterborough
Mississauga
or something. Yeah, and around there somewhere.
with like a whole bunch of people and like 10,000
massive fucking greenhouse they had going. Like just a phenomenal sized greenhouse. I don't know how no one noticed. Well, that's probably what did them in was they noticed. But yeah, I can't remember the numbers. They spewed them all out of how many plants and how much it was worth, and but they also talk quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but they mentioned the idea here. It was Health Canada growers abusing their licenses.
I don't believe that happens. Really?
Massive operation selling weed to the black market.
It's not supposed to be diverted like that. It's supposed to be just for the medical patients, whose name's on the license. Everyone knows that. Come on. I think the government's putting this propaganda stuff out to get us concerned.
Well, it's definitely put out there for a reason. I don't know. I think they're going to start working at ending that program. I have a feeling.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Fight again for it, like the MMA are. You know, oh, I can't take away the medical from medical people. Okay, we'll switch it up again, eh? Jesus.
Well, they're gonna try to combine the two, I think. And I don't know. What do I know? I'm just fucking.
No, I think you're onto something there. I've heard wind of that. I don't know from who or where, but the wind came in.
So I don't know what their plans are in that respect, but they alluded to the idea that that's what's going on. So yeah, I don't know. There's also, the continued release of how much the legal market is making a dent in the black market, and you go, well, in reality, their estimation of the black market could only be made up. There's no way they know the extent of cannabis use in the black market. There's just no way they can know that. It's an estimation at best. And I'll bet it's wildly underestimated, actually, how many people are fucking smoking weed. They said there was a couple million people prior to legalization that admitted to regular cannabis use. You go, well, how did you find that out? Right? Like, what, how do you find that out? Doesn't it depend on who you ask? Hey, where are you buying your weed? None of your
You're
business.
like, no answer, no response.
Yeah.
I was not given a name.
Somehow, I can't imagine how they can even use a poll to suggest. Polls are just made up bullshit anyway. They absolutely are. They don't mean anything that, and it's a predetermined fucking outcome they're looking for.
Well, and
Always.
it's like with those ones, they're asking you something that's already illegal that people don't want to confess to. It doesn't matter how private your answer is. Majority of the people that are doing the weed or whatever the question is, that might be like, shady, is not going to be like, yeah. Some people will be, yeah, but I bet there's a percentage that did not answer, that answered no, but should answer yes, like
A good percentage told them to fuck off.
that too. Yeah, they couldn't even get enough people.
But it's accepted in the world now that a poll of a very few people means anything. You can't apply math to humans. There, I've said it. You can't. Doesn't matter if it's in a poll or in a fucking survey or fucking anything. The thoughts of a few do not fucking reflect the thoughts of all. Right? Or desires or fucking anything. Idiots.
And surveys is big
Somehow,
business. Like for some reason, I don't know. Like I used to work for call centers back in the day. That was what I did. And I worked for one that was strictly pretty much all surveys. And like one survey that I worked on was literally for IT guys and like high-end computer firms of like big businesses. And the survey literally took like 45 minutes to go through. And like I was saying shit that I had no idea, you know what I mean? Like what the fucking shit is. But they were just like, oh yeah, yeah, and like to get these people to sit down for that long was just like I could not believe they would actually do it. Like, you go through it, your little spiel, and then they're like, "Oh, sure, what's up?" Because they're kind of interested, I guess, in it too.
yeah,
I'm
maybe.
just like, "Oh, really? You want to go through this? Okay."
You're hoping they don't.
Well, it's kind of my job to get them to do it, but even when they do it, I'm just and I tell them it's like 30 minutes, but really it's like 45, because you don't want to tell them it's 45. That's way too long.
Well, there's continually so much talk about competing with the black market here with the legal industry. And a total refusal to admit that they're overregulated and overpriced. And that's why they're having trouble. How they, again, come up with the idea of how many people are actually buying anything in the black market.
And just the crap of the crap.
Huh?
And just buying crappy weed. So it's not even like they're worried about quality yet.
Well, that's the unfortunate part of this lengthy prohibition we've been faced with, is that we, the cannabis consumer, have been forced by that prohibition to kind of accept what we get when it comes to cannabis, right? That's what my guy has, right? It could be fucking anything. But we like cannabis and would like to have cannabis, so quite often we would be prepared and did buy that cannabis that was questionable and overpriced because we had no other choice. We were forced to because it was fucking illegal. Not because we wanted that or that it reflected anything in the fucking cannabis. It's just
like the batter stuff, because your friend, the guy, would always be honest. He'd be like, well, I got man, I have this stuff for more expensive, and then I have this stuff. It's not the best, but you get more for your money. You're like, I'll take the more for my money right now, you know? Like,
So it depends on what your access was and is, and people didn't for the very longest time have the best access to everything or choice. You had no choice in the matter whatsoever. It's whatever your guy had.
the weed. Do you have the weed? Yeah, I have weed. Oh wow, I have two kinds. Whoa, really? You know, well, some that's left over from the last time and the new one.
So that was the choices you had, and not always were they very good. And a lot of times, and over the years, it became, some of it was outdoor that would sell because we didn't have any choice, not because those were the desires of the cannabis consumer. Right? They're all out there trying to figure it all out, what the consumer wants. You go like, really? How fucking difficult do you think this is? See, they just are not prepared to look past legalization day. You don't want to see behind that. What we were all saying all along, right? The cannabis consumer, I think over the years has been fairly vocal about what we like and how we like it. What? You don't know what we want? I'm astounded by it. Like, not astounded, really. I get it. These people are coming at it particularly from a money and business model point of view.
Yeah, exactly. But like when I was in where was I? Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, I did like an Al Capone tour. Al Capone, yeah, he was there doing his bootlegging, and then they said, oh well, after Prohibition ended, they just kind of kept the things open as like bars and stuff like that, cool things. But it was still something that was like honored, and he was involved, I'm sure, in some sort of financial game, like the Seagram's Booze Company. They were all bootleggers, so they should have just been folded on into it. Like, come on now. They
Well,
were folded into it, but everyone else in the marijuana game, they're like, no, no, we can't have that. We can't
they
have people that know the business in it.
no, they're very romantic about the prohibition of alcohol era and how wonderful that all turned out.
Well, they recently had a remake on that romance because they started doing the moonshine and then having like a show with moonshiners and like stuff like that. But like moonshine's like an illegal booze. Like it's not like they made it because it was like good. They're like, oh, let's make some moonshine or you know, Newfie Screech or whatever, you know, that barrel stuff. Like I don't think they were like, oh, let's brew some up.
Yeah, and it's actually fairly dangerous, all of it. And takes a lot of people's lives, alcohol. But yeah, I don't, this was a financial heist of the cannabis industry, right? They had it all worked out. Like, they totally worked out before task force. There's no point in ever doing that because they had it all figured out what they were going to do. And now they were going to take it all, is what the plan was. And is, it would seem. You and me as a cannabis consumer are the ones that are expected to fucking pay for it and go along with the nonsense that they're presenting. Even though the majority of the people who consume cannabis don't shop at your shops, right? Funny, I don't hear too much about the success or lack thereof at the retail level. There's no discussion about that out there in the world. It's only from the producers' points of view. How much are they worth? How much? How much? Totally all about it. That's the whole fucking news feed nowadays is all from Bloomberg. So, yeah, I don't know. But you and I get fucked. I'm tired of being ripped off for the price of cannabis. See, if you end prohibition, you can get rid of both of these markets, the black market and the legal market, who are now the ones trying to rip us off. And there's nothing that the cannabis world has done to deserve such flagrant treatment, in my opinion. Everybody refuses to acknowledge that cannabis doesn't cost very much to produce and should never have been the price that it is, because that was influenced totally by prohibition. So this is why also they pretend that nothing happened around cannabis until it was legalized that day, because they won't acknowledge the effect that prohibition has had on this substance that they now want to sell us, right? It sucks. And then the cannabis consumer is the one that gets fucked by it. Grr. No apparent reason.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
No, it's fucked because it's just been about money. The whole schmear is about money. Plus the eradication of the culture that had developed around cannabis. Devoid of anything in the stores, no reference to it anymore, like no celebration, no nothing, right? Can't be happy about it. You can't fucking, this is the regulations that they brought forward. You go, what the fuck? The only people who would actually go and buy cannabis at these stores are people who like cannabis. And if you refuse to look at them and offer them something of what they would want, it's kind of fucking weird.
You don't want
But-
those kind of customers.
Yeah. So yeah, they get a percentage. Of course they're going to get a percentage because people want cannabis and like cannabis. And if it's conveniently located and it's right there and we're kind of used to paying 12, 10, 15 bucks a gram for shit. But that would only be that percentage. You may lure a percentage from that have higher standards, than they won't go back. They'll do it one time, but they won't go back. There's no point. Nobody wants that, right?
Yeah, it'd be like last case scenario, you know, if they couldn't find any weed anywhere else and you had to go see Dave, you know, you're like, oh, anyone else but him, you know, but he had it and you didn't. So you're like, hey, Dave, can I stop by?
That's exactly. And it's the same with legalization.
Sort of, yeah. Like, you know,
No,
you get to go to a store
no,
with all this weed in it. It's not very good. But maybe there's one that's good. I don't honestly know, but like, you know, they're like fucking. You still go there and they're like, "Well, we got weed." You're like, "I need weed. Give me some weed." Like,
well, it's fucked that we keep being forced. It's not like I'm not willingly doing this. I still want cannabis, though, for fuck's sakes. So the only way I can get it is to pay the price. And hopefully someday that can be reckoned with. But they're not headed in that path whatsoever here. They want to control it entirely all the way and present it like it's anthrax, so that they justify controlling it every step of the way. Prohibition created the fictitious financial market that they're so desperate to overtake. That's all they want. The money that's being spent by everyone in that market. They don't give a shit about who's spending it or what they want. So yeah, it's fairly evident to me that this is how it's operating. Strict and totally only about money.
The bottom dollar, that's what they say.
How can we squeeze as much money out of these people? See, it's not just out of the business to squeeze the money out of the business. It's squeezing money out of you and me, for fuck's sakes. Be very consumer of your product. Yet, you want to continue to fucking hose me by charging $12 a gram when it shouldn't be 10, it shouldn't be 5, shouldn't even be fucking 5. And they know it. They obviously know. There's no discussion about any of that, about the money part of this. Nobody's talking about what it's costing to fucking actually grow this. So, other than what was reported by the outdoor guys, he just told me that it's costing them just about nothing and that they're going to make large because of prohibition. Because it's going to go back up to prohibition prices when it gets to the next middleman. Because that's where they want the price to be. So I want to get rid of both markets. Them for ripping me off, and the black market for ripping me off.
Yeah, the black market's like, no, it costs a lot to produce there. We got lots of overhead, different things, all that stuff's going on. The legal market's like, no, it's really cheap to produce, lots of taxes. We got to pay the taxes.
Yeah, everybody's got an excuse.
You're like, well, this is the same excuse I heard from Rick and Dave down at the grow op when they screwed up the grow op there. They said they didn't water and the pumps failed, and
yeah, but the black market, the price wasn't so much on. It was kind of a set price here for years and years, kind of varied in and around the same kind of price, which was enough, right? It had to be determined that's enough to ask. For a time, it could go a little higher or something for one reason or another. And develop quite a range of prices within the realm of how well it was produced. Sometimes not. Sometimes very poorly produced was really expensive. Depended. But they weren't ruthless to go beyond that in the black market. They weren't ruthless to say, okay, this is fucking premium, so it's going to be 5 times the price or whatever. What the fuck? They're asking $100 for an eighth of fucking weed in legal scenario, pushing it to a premium place. In the black market, people would just laugh at you. You go, no thanks, not gonna happen.
So like, isn't that the price of an ounce for like, mid-grade weed? Oh, that's what you guys are selling, but that's the price of an ounce, not a half quarter.
That's what they're asking, $100 an eighth for fucking Death Bubba or some fucking thing.
And it's probably just live Bubba, not even the death.
Yeah, I don't think it was Death Bubba. It was Bubba Kush or some fucking sad little indica.
Hubba Bubba.
But that's what they're wanting to do. You go, well, wait a second. Let's think about this for a second. I didn't deserve to be charged this much for the weed before you came along. Like, let's look at this realistically. If you want to go grow marijuana, then get into the fucking market here and let's see how low it can go. Right? The government is right in between it all, making sure that it stays at those kind of prices because that's what we've been paying in the black market. What the fuck did we ever do to deserve that? To buy our fucking apples. Who gets slammed with that? So it's not legalization at all. It's just a colonization of cannabis. Just take it over from the people who had it before is what they want to do and are trying desperately to do. Take everything from the black market, and then you too will become the new black market, preying on those cannabis people, which it seems okay to do. Just prey upon those people, and we'll pretend that it's really dangerous to support you along the way. Support those prices. So, in my life, cannabis has been very expensive because the police were coming. And now it's very expensive because what? Because it's legal?
Yeah, because they say because now there's legal weed, that illegal weed is more illegal than it was. So it's like illegal times 2 now.
Yeah. So, kind of an odd scenario, don't you think? But it is just about the numbers, just about money and where it's going to go. The legal industry is merely an excuse from prohibition. You're excused from that today. Your mom wrote you a ticket. You don't have to take a PE. So that's merely what that becomes, reinforced by the prohibition that is levied upon this plant unnecessarily. So, yeah, what the fuck? It's not right. Not even close. It's kind of just the same. You know, if the shops would be allowed to look like a cannabis shop and operate like a cannabis shop, yeah, but no, that can't happen. You have to erase that culture, which is fairly evident that that's what they're up to. And you go, it doesn't seem right to me to want to do that to the very people that you would like to attract to your cash register.
Yeah, the weed buyers from before, the admitted weed buyers from before.
Yeah.
The ones that you want.
So, yeah, it's complicated. They've made it very complicated because of, well, their desire to make all the money is what they're up to. Take as much of the fucking money as they can possibly get at wildly inflated prices because they hate, it would seem, people who like cannabis at the core of it. And have been as punitive and petty as they could possibly be in regard to us cannabis consumers. Okay, well, it's a legal substance, so how about some respect? And fuck you that it's harmful. There, I've said it. So today I read a story that in Warsaw, Poland, they have an elephant, an anxious female elephant. So they're going to be giving that elephant CBD oil in a first of its kind study, it says. And you go, really? This is the very first time ever that anyone's ever so that's kind of obvious that no one's ever given an elephant CBD oil. So, but what the fuck, dude, I say, I don't. It's wonderful to give the elephant CBD, but let it go. It's in Warsaw, Poland. This could not be further from it where it wants to be. And you wonder why it's anxious?
Well, it's an elephant in Poland. I don't think they don't take kindly to elephants there. I heard, but I that could just be a rumor. I've never been.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, what, Poland, the heart of hemp town, wouldn't it be? A lot of hemp growing in that, in that neck of the woods. That's probably where the CBD's coming from.
And that's why the elephant's a bit nervous, probably. No.
Nervous that it wants real weed. How about some good weed? No, let the fucking thing go. It's time to shut down these stupid zoos. Fucking brutal bastards. If you want to go look at these animals, go and fucking look at them. Or don't. Leave them.
It's probably anxious because fucking everyone keeps looking at it, for Christ's sakes. It's from the wild. Like, it's not used to that shit. I'd be anxious if, like,
Well, yeah, it's in a fucking zoo. How brutal. For a big giant fucking elephant. Come on. But no, they're more exciting in this first of its kind study.
yeah, it's not like they have hidden cameras out in the wilderness and they see like this distressed elephant. Oh, that elephant looks way more distressed than the rest. Huh? Seems anxious, you know? Well, it's fucking in a cage in front of you. Well, yeah, I'd be anxious too. Come on now, little fucking people prodding at me and shit. Probably taking blood, and that's enough to be like, fuck off, little guys. Like, come on now.
Oh yeah, it's just nonsense. It's zoo mentality. Like I can look at fucking elephants doing what they do in like 4K for fuck's sake. So what more do I need? Right? Right from the safari vehicle that I would possibly ever be on if I was there. I can watch that and see it. You go, wow, what else? More to it. Oh no, I must be able to go downtown and look at one here in a cage. In this day and age, come on. I appreciate when the fucking wilds were just a marvel to the world. But now, come on. I don't see why people don't rise up more against that. What? Same with aquariums. Fuck off. Leave the fish alone. They don't want to swim around in a box. I'm pretty sure of that. Some maybe don't mind. Fish are funny like that. But
yeah, like the fish that don't get eaten all the time. They're probably like okay with it. They're like, well, we just get to be in here with fish of our own kind that don't try to eat us. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. What? Food comes to the top every day a couple times? Oh, okay. So I keep looking up, and when there's food, I'm good, and then another day.
Well, it might be that simple. But poor elephant. Come on. And using CBD to fucking get in the news about it.
And then they're going to use the tag that it was so heavy that it affected an elephant.
Yeah. How much
Like, did you see what did the elephant?
I didn't actually read the article. I've only read that headline.
You know enough from the headline.
Yeah.
What else would it be?
No, it's all just, I don't know. It's weird out there in the cannabis world in terms of what they're bringing to the news feed. So, what else did I see? Yeah, Jim Belushi's out there quite a bit in the news, I see. He's, well, it's pretty much a natural for him to springboard into the television world through his connection to the television world already and cannabis now. So good on him. He's a good guy. I think he comes up. I don't pay that much attention, but I got a feeling he'll be coming at cannabis from a good place. And I think it's quite different in California, what you can do and how you can do it compared to here. And measurably, if they're growing outdoor, then they have a little better chance at having something good than here.
Yeah, Cali crops.
So I don't know. Yeah, the season here is coming along pretty good. We've had lots of good sunny days, outdoor crops that people will be attempting. Now I'm going to predict, I don't know, I'm going to suggest that there's more outdoor marijuana being grown this year than maybe ever before. I think a lot more people are growing weed outside now. Whether or not that's they're for in the backyard or on the deck or whatever, or going, well, hey, I'm going to grow these
4,000 out in the bush.
Yeah, there's a big lot.
You know?
But I got a feeling a lot of outdoor weed will be attempted this year. So we'll see. We'll see.
It's always like a big lottery, you know? Like it's like, will it finish? Will you get birds? Will you get mold? Will you get this? You're just like, people don't understand. Like,
weather-based, well, and only weather-based because of not being in the right place of the world. Right? You go, oh. But yeah, I don't know. You see some odd things actually.
They're like, they never have this problem in Jamaica, man. The crops come in, it's 12 hours of darkness.
Oh, every day.
Every day, man, you know?
Yeah, they grow little short plants. They like the more indica influence now rather than the sativa of old, because these plants are much smaller and faster, and the sativas were noticeable and large.
And longer too, probably, especially if they're just, you know, waiting for it to be done, you know, and the weather is relatively cooperative for them. They're pretty much just like, let's harvest some plants. Oh, sativa. Oh, gotta wait 6 months. You're like, what?
Well, yeah, but still, at the end of the day, quite often a sativa will yield you way more than an indica. But
yeah,
they crank it out with these little plants and works pretty well. They don't have the best weed in the world in Jamaica. Like it's not wildly spectacular, but we are used to taking what we can get when it comes to cannabis, right? And quite often what we can get will do.
yeah.
So good on them. That's why the Rasta guys down there smoke giant fucking joints, because you kind of have to.
Yeah. Like the last time I went to the Czech Republic, Prague, I had to buy marijuana off the street there because it was, I don't know, whatever, a weird time, and the social clubs were sort of like closed or very underground. And I bought some weed off a guy in a leather jacket and another guy in a jean jacket, which I thought was hilarious to me. A big guy and a small guy, like a Jay and Silent Bob, but you know, not
Universal.
Yeah, but Czech. And so they sell me some weed in like a fucking metal container, which I was like, oh, that's cool. And yeah, when I opened it up, it was just like CD fucking outdoor weed. Like, you know, like I was like, wow. So I was like, I got kind of ripped off or whatever. But whatever, cleaned out the seeds and smoked some joints, right? Big cannons. It was all right, you know? I was like, that's all right. So the next day, I was online with like Mark or something that night, and he was like, "Oh, you're in Czech. My friend Michael runs the magazine there, whatever. Go see him." So I go see him, and he's like, oh, I'll give you some. And he turns around and he grabs. It's very like illegal to give you marijuana there. Like that's trafficking, and you can go to jail real quick. So he like, gives it to me. I'm like, oh, right on, thanks. And just like, so I go to the smoking room there and I bust it out, and I'm like, and it was just like a better outdoor weed, but still had seeds in it. And I was like, really? Like, I'm like, and then I asked someone, and they were like, well, that's kind of what they do, they just have it outside, it just does whatever. There's pollen from everything. I was just like,
Huh.
but the street weed was hilarious. I was just like, oh wow. My friend's like, as if you just did that. I'm like, oh, well, what, buying weed? That's what we do, He's like, weren't you scared? I'm like, I feel pretty safe. Like, it was like not too late at night. We weren't in a shady spot. It was more one of those like walking down a crowded street and here's a pass back and forth deal, like I was glad there was weed in it, sort of thing. That's what I told them. I was like, oh shit, I've done that before and got no weed. Like,
well, yeah, interesting. No doubt, but you smoked it.
Yeah, it was good. Like, looking at it, it was just like seedy outdoor weed, but whatever. It didn't have any weed, so roll it up.
Smoked it. See, that's how we've been conditioned.
And that was literally like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, but not like a long, long time ago.
So yeah, all around the world, there people are trying to get cannabis. So it is unfortunate that the prohibition has turned it into such a pricey product. So I see in the world, and certainly in the States, the price is going down, but I'm not too sure the price is so fucking, set by the government like it is here. Because they're getting a big cut. They're getting large off cannabis right now. Being the middleman for the warehousing of it across the country, government's making fucking huge off this. Plus the taxes that they've levied on top of it. What the fuck did you ever do to deserve that?
They're like, oh yeah, we worked in the government for a long time, or financial governments. We know business.
Government doesn't deserve to be pretending cannabis is dangerous to make a lot of money off it at our expense, the cannabis consumer's expense. Come on, what the fuck? Don't we got no rights?
Well, I guess it's like because they're looking at it like, oh, we sell cigarettes, they're killing people all the time, and then marijuana, well, we'll tell them it's dangerous too. Might as well. People still buy it, still buying these cigarettes.
They've always done that. They did it all the way through Prohibition. They just didn't stop. Right? They just don't want to stop doing that because it's worth too much money. Look how much it's worth in legalization too. Let alone, it was worth lots during Prohibition to the cops. It still is, because they haven't ended Prohibition, because it's worth too much money. Ouch. Phew. Well, I don't know what to do to change any of it, quite frankly. I don't know. Somehow I must have some rights being infringed upon here. That's all I can conclude.
Heavy infringement going on. They're like, they won't figure it out.
Well, yeah, I don't know. The law and the implementing of it is a very complicated and kind of a one-sided affair when it comes to my rights, actually. Yeah, so it still bothers me that anyone would be persecuted or maligned for desiring to consume cannabis. And it's only from years of prohibition and that point of view, them smearing the name of cannabis. It's not that way at all. How come that isn't an issue? How come that isn't part of the equation? That it isn't what they're saying it is. We got some person who just fucking appeared out of nowhere and knew absolutely nothing and showed it to them. It's fairly obvious what one would think. So, to do anything else around it is just fucking money grabbing, dishonest bullshit that we as cannabis consumers don't deserve in the least. Because we ain't hurt nobody. We're looking at a substance that doesn't hurt anyone. And we'd like to consume it. Go fuck yourself is what I'd like to say. Come on.
Yeah, let us consume it our way, or whatever the good stuff.
It hasn't made any difference to the world that we did that the day before legalization. But they won't concede. Well, they're not being challenged at all from that point of view. And at the same time, the cruel pricks want to erase the cannabis culture. So,
yeah, like I had a lot of illegal weed when legalization switched over that I smoked all the way through, like, about, I think I had like 7 or 8 ounces. So we'll say 7 or 8 weeks worth of weed, I was like 2 months of illegal weed during the whole legalization. Like, didn't feel any different.
no. And, well, yeah, I'm glad that the people aren't thronging to it. Right? Like and it will take much more to get me to throng. That's for sure.
It's too expensive to throng, like,
If you want to talk about just business, so I see it's just business. You go, well, how about the business of not giving me the business? And that's an issue. It's not bullshit. I wouldn't whine about it if it was. So you haven't earned anything in terms of any idea that you really care about us at all. I can't imagine there's any full-term sativas available across the fucking land in this cannabis marketplace. Do you think?
I don't think so, but I bet you there's some that's labeled as it.
Well, yeah. But is there pure haze being offered anywhere, at least? Something like that?
The Colombian Gold, maybe, or Acapulco Gold.
Oh, really? Doubt it. I can't imagine.
It looked,
Fucking Mexican.
it had similar looks or something, but I don't think it was flowered for long enough. So then they were just like, oh, here's Acapulco Gold, but it was like, maybe, I don't know, 9 weeks, we'll say, maybe 10 weeks, but like not going like 16 weeks on it or whatever the hell it needs, like it was just like, I seen some of it and was like, oh, that looks like immature weed. All bottom buds.
Well, so I don't know. They're not interested in competing. They should shut the fuck up about the black market if the legal market doesn't want to get down there and start undercutting it. So cannabis consumers already showed that they'll buy fucking near anything. But you want to get rid of the black market, undercut it. Isn't that obvious? That's the only. But nobody wants to do that somehow.
Yeah, if they grew really killer weed and it was really cheaply priced and they did it for like a long time, then the black market would sort of fizzle away because it'd just be like trying to sell like really cheap good weed, but You can always
Well,
get good weed, you know. So it's just like,
if I can get good weed cheaper than the black market, of course I'm going to go to the store on the corner. But this new industry designed and wants to gouge me even more than the black market does. They do, like they just everything combined, it's more. What the fuck happened?
and way more for way less. So it's like way up for way low. You're like, what the hell, guys? Come on now. So you're just ripping me off, charging me a lot, and just ripping me off, giving me the shittiest product. Here you go. Oh, it's high end. Well, just because you say high end doesn't mean it's high end. Like it's not like a magic trick. Hocus pocus. You're like, oh, now it's good.
Well, they invented the premium term. They call
Oh,
something
yeah.
premium, which means premium price only.
I seen that from another thing. Premium tobacco, maybe.
Oh, I would suspect lots of products use premium in their fucking, I don't know, but
Premium gas.
so the premium is always more expensive, is kind of what you're talking about. So, right, and they expect the premium weed. They're going to call it premium, which could only be well-grown weed. Like it just can't be any better than well-grown weed. Can it? So they're going to call that premium. And they're going to charge you even more. So
And then they're also admitting by doing that that there's a shittier weed, a lesser quality. You're like,
yeah,
so this is premium, but the other stuff?
yeah,
So
what all
not
of the other stuff then. So it's just business, right? It's calculators buzzing behind the greenhouse, like every pot grower does. Figures out how much they have to spend based on what could be harvested and how quickly.
true. It's true.
So not a great deal in it for the cannabis consumer, really. Like a lot of people care about it, like it, celebrate it, enjoy it, appreciate the nuances of what it has to offer. So the way that it's regulated here in Canada, you cannot offer that. Nobody along the line can offer that to us. Which is a weird place in the consumer world to be fucking heaped. Really, when it comes to thinking about stuff that you go out there and purchase, that you can have, that you can do whatever the fuck you want with. Like, I don't know. I get the government's position of the black market of cannabis that existed prior to legalization would potentially contain a great deal of unpaid tax. But first of all, their mission would be is to regain control of that.
Yeah, but they don't have to add it in the price of the first 2 grams they sell. Like, Jesus.
So instead, they could have easily said, okay, well, the industry exists, can come forward, and we'll kind of forgive all that this time only because it's a complicated scenario. It's an unusual situation. So we'll forgive you that and would encourage you to open fucking shops and grow weed to supply them. More than that oversight we need? What the fuck? There's a fruit stand over here that gets like 1 million trucks a day coming and supplying it. And I don't know if any one of those people is actually fucking paying tax on any of it. I see vans show up and unload fucking blueberries from Delta or whatever, and there's no name anywhere on any truck or fucking pay cash where you go.
Yeah.
You go, right? And I don't care, but track cannabis every nickel up along the way.
Blueberry, like maple syrup. You know, there's a blueberry mafia, maple syrup mafia. We do not manipulate the price of blueberries.
So the financial fucking ripoff of cannabis continues, in my estimation. And it will continue. So God knows for how long. They kind of need the black market too, though, right? You can't ever get rid of that, because then you can't justify paying any money to cops anymore. If they're, you know, and so there's a vested interest in prohibition by the police. A great big one, because they've been given a great deal of money over the years to hammer at us cannabis consumers. And they still want it. They're still addicted to it. So that's a big problem and hurdle that we face here. And I don't know. Prohibition's just gone on a long time to condition people to accept that which isn't necessary and, you know, shouldn't be. Cannabis should be really cheap. That's what I'm saying. Sorry. No money in it, really. It's huge amounts. The only way you can get huge amounts is to control it brutally.
That's what's going on right now. The pot control.
So, I don't know. I'm not sure how one reckons with the idea that these kind of prices need to be continued. And that we consumers should bear that, I don't know, that demand. Fuck on. Let's get real about it. But no. So, I don't know. And around the world, it's like that. Plus, here it's just been super stigmatized by giving every Tom, Dick, and Karen the fucking opportunity to say no. We don't want cannabis here or there or there or anywhere. We want to treat it this way. Right? That hasn't helped. Giving every single fucking ordinance here on the planet the opportunity to go yes or no about cannabis. Every fucking town and city council across the land has now been faced with that. Set their own fucking rules. Gee, what? You don't know anything about it.
And it was devil's weed at one point. Now they're just like, we don't really know anymore.
Yeah. They just go along with the fucking program, right? Of presenting it like it is dangerous, treating it as such. We must be so far away from each other. Idiots. Like, who came up with this idea of having things a certain distance apart, which isn't a huge fucking distance that you can't actually walk it in a minute? But, well, but there is no rationale to have any restriction whatsoever. What is the rationale when you think about it? What fucking difference does it make? To have one side by side? Wouldn't it look like cannabis store that's there? Would it look like, oh my God, there's two? Or, like I just don't understand the logic or the rationale for all the restrictions that they place upon it. Can't be here, can't be there. We don't want it in this neighborhood, not near a church, not near a telephone pole, for God's sakes.
It's by the sidewalk. People walk there.
And this is what the cannabis consumer marketplace is faced with. You go like, what? All we're trying to do is get a piece of pizza, for fuck's sake.
Just trying to get a piece of weed pizza here. Come on now.
Oh no, people are out there complaining that even having to walk by a cannabis store is dangerous for the youth. Right? You go like, who asked you? Why do you get a say? Why are your words even being printed in the fucking media for me to know you said them? Wouldn't most people go, shut up? Afraid of cannabis to walk by a store that really doesn't look like anything anyway, because they're not allowed to.
Yeah, you wouldn't know you walk by one. You'd just be like, oh, what was that? A little store, unmarked store. Oh, nice. Is that an office? They do taxes there?
But what is the possible worry that any uneducated elected official in some small town or city across the land, what objection would they have? What are they concerned about? That they put all these wild restrictions on who can and where they should be. And like, shut the fuck up. Still, unfortunately, buying into this idea that presentation needs to be as a dangerous substance. A clever thing they got going on. But anyway, don't get me started. I'll talk about stuff. Yes, I don't know. So, I like cannabis. That's what I can say. And I hope everybody out there has the opportunity to have lots, however you get it, however good it is. Seems. I don't know. Cannabis is an interesting thing here, really. It seems to me that there isn't much, given the quality that I've come across in my lifetime, from Mexican fucking brickweed to Colombian brickweed to fucking, it all worked.
Jamaican brickweed.
We didn't stop consuming it, right? We still enjoyed having it, right? So cannabis is pretty good in the long run. Thankfully, helps a lot of people and doesn't hurt anyone. So it's the same message.
And is environmentally friendly, I like to tell people.
Well, yeah, it has wondrous benefits beyond that. And so who gives a shit that it does? The idea that no one's getting hurt should be the issue for any restrictions. Otherwise, I might become confused thinking that the restrictions are because it does help people. Because that's all there is, really. Why is there restrictions and regulation? based on doesn't hurt anyone yet. It helps a lot of people. So doesn't hurt anyone. Why does it need all these regulations, restrictions?
True.
It helps people. Even less, why does it need all these regulations and restrictions? So the fight continues.
I know, and you tell people that, and then they're like, well, so and so helps people too, but it's dangerous. But you're like, but not as dangerous. Wow, it's still dangerous. You're like,
Oh no, the prohibition and the fucking bullshit they've been spewing all these years, it works by and large, right? People actually believe what they've been told in that respect because that's all they've ever heard. Those of us who might say differently, we're always just painted as fucking potheads or self-interest or I don't know, everything, right?
trying to be an Instagrammer, but influencer.
Yeah, and in my mind, with the idea that cannabis for sure is not as expensive to actually provide to us, it that's the worst fucking thing that ever happened to it. Is it to become this commodity that had this artificial price? Sadly enough, for those of us who like it. Oops, the entire marketplace. Like, who else are they doing that to? Not fucking burgers or lettuce or
Lettuce, it's been getting at the romaine lately, but I don't know if it's its own fault or grower's fault, but whatever.
So is it because it helps people that they want to restrict its use? Is that why they're trying to downplay its excitement or celebration or culture? Downplay it. Why would you want to do that? What
Because we're
danger?
going to use less medicine if we're using that stuff, they think or know. So they're like, not the best.
Yeah, that should not be their motivation.
I know, and they would save on healthcare right across the board. So that should be their motivation, money. But for some reason, it's leaned on.
Fairly unusual approach other than to continue prohibition for the cops and take all the money they can get from the cannabis. They help create the artificial price with their prohibition. Huh, interesting. That's how it goes. But only around cannabis, unfortunately. Holy fuck. Can you do any more to this? Holy shit. Can you fucking wreck this a little bit more?
I know it's crazy because there's still bootlegging beer, people. You can still buy bootleg booze after hours. So I don't get it.
Well, no one's looking at that. No one cares.
Yeah.
There are no squads going out there checking on that unless there's too much noise. And right, so
That's why they're always quiet, eh? They're like, shh, shh.
booze is okay. It's pretty much a given now. It's everywhere and it's okay. In fact, Molson's just made a deal with one of the LPs, Hexo. Hexo. Haven't they fucking disappeared yet? Hexo, I don't know. There was something in the news about them. I think they downsized drastically. And they were the ones trying to sell the $4 a gram weed, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. The outdoor weed.
$4.95 or something. But most of them, they are going to make 5 new cannabis drinks. which is unusual because I don't think anybody's buying them anyway from the legal market. Sales are not nearly as expected because of the limits of THC inside the fucking bottle.
Well, I think what's his name? Our ex-lawyer Kirk Tusaw, he said that he bought, I want to say he bought a 6-pack of those drinks, but they only have like 0.25 or 0.2 milligrams in each drink. But because of weight or something, he was only allowed to buy a 6-pack or something. But it wasn't even like, you know, you're only getting like whatever it is, 8 or 12 milligrams or something in 6 cans. But like because of the grammage or whatever, he could only buy 6 at a time. So he was like, that's the weirdest thing. Like,
Oh yeah, it's nonsense. And as restrictive as you can possibly get, which I guess the government and everybody else along the line don't mind presenting it this way to the cannabis consumer. That's okay, that we should present cannabis like this and, you know, get that high price.
that's right. That's right. Oh, and Karma Cup judges kits are all out to everyone. That's going on right now. It's like an at-home judging type situation.
Yes, I failed to get in on that.
I forgot to get in on it as well, and then I realized like, oh, it's really going on. Which I guess I could have reached out and been like, hey, is this going on? I just, you know, kind of actually slipped my mind, and then I realized it was happening.
Well, that's always fun.
It's news you lose.
Yeah, Sarah Sunday does a good job with Karma Cup every year, and good on her for continuing the cannabis culture. As
Yeah, exactly.
and in these times, it gets weird and different, and you can't be live and with people. But
And large groups, and that place always made a large group. So
you can still have judges kits. Good on you. So good luck to the entrants in that. And I have, Mr. Cook and I have consumed many judges kits in our time. Oh
yeah,
my
still
God.
like to for some reason, you know, it's still fun.
Yeah, it's always fun and challenging sometimes. One time in Amsterdam, we decided, we'd never done it usually, but to actually go, and what you had to do is go to different coffee shops to buy the entrance into the cannabis cup.
Oh, be a real cannabis cup judge.
Yeah. So through High Times or whatever. So we decided to do that, and Barge, the photographer for the magazine at the time, knew the city very well. So we got bicycles and off we went to each and every one. 22 different coffee shops in 6 hours, which we smoked and fucking everything that they was entered at each place. And that was a lot of cannabis that day, I gotta say. And then at the end of it, we had quite a collection, and decided to grind it all together and just put it in a can. And we had cannabis cup in a can for the rest of the time. Knew the winner was in there in all categories.
Every joint you're smoking or
Yeah. But yeah, it's way fun. It can be quite challenging to, and Karma Cup would be challenging because it's packed.
oh, it'd probably take you friggin' months. Be good right now, you know, like the COVID and the isolation and stuff. I guess it'd be even easier almost because you are smoking. I found myself smoking a little more weed than usual for some reason, but
Yes. Yeah, It would be easy. It is easier when you're at home and dedicated to a judging of such things.
Yeah, normal routine, normal area, normal
Yeah. And
utensils.
no distraction by an event that you're attending.
Yeah, you don't have to like socialize or nothing. You're just like, let's toke up, okay? Oh wow, my, or oh, not high at all.
Judging of the Cannabis Cup in Australia the first year,
Rip on the bobby.
or second year maybe. I can't remember now, but we stopped at our friend Henry's house, who entered 35 different strains in their cannabis cup itself, which were all spectacular, outdoor grown in spectacular conditions in Australia, really fucking hot and dry. And fuck, their cannabis cup had 53 entries, I think, something like that. So, smoked them in just a few hours, actually. The way they did their competition was fun because they laid it all out on a table, on a plate, each different one. Everybody got a chance to fucking take a look, even give it a sniff, kind of thing. And then you were to pick your favorite three and go away, smoke those, and make your choices based on that. And we were actually attended that event 2 years in a row. In both years, at the end of the competition, the first, second, and third place winners, the plates were empty. Everybody virtually picked the same three a lot. Which I have no idea why that would be. The smell, probably, you would think.
And the look, you know, that's what they liked, maybe, you know.
But we all picked in and around the same three. But we went on to smoke the other 50 that were left over that night. So
Well,
we might
clean out
have
of the bag, it goes bad. So you got a smoker.
Yeah, we might have smoked 100 joints that day. Festival and all day long, and then it was a late night competition. But a secretive affair, if you will.
I've heard of those.
It was lots of fun in Australia. You can grow mad weed there. Holy fuck. They got some good conditions. And quite a range of conditions. Like Queensland is tropical, right? It's just in the southern hemisphere. It's the same as tropical in the northern hemisphere. So they can grow fucking really great weed outdoor there. I smoked a bunch. It was White Widow Haze, I believe, that you really couldn't tell wasn't grown indoor, and it was fucking great. And long seasons. And so, yeah, it'll be fun when those kind of places can get involved in some sort of open cannabis industry in the world. If one would ever concede that it ain't not gonna hurt anyone. But so Australia doesn't export a lot of stuff. It's a long way away. I don't think they do. Really. Kangaroo. They got so many of those. All right. Well, let's get out of here. Don't have a joint.
Doodling.
Yeah. Well, good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys.
And thanks for everybody tuning in here onto the Zoomness of it all. And we'll continue to waste your time here or yak about stuff as it goes. But thanks a lot for tuning in. Appreciate it. And do tune into all the excitement here on Pot TV at all times. You never know what's going to happen. So thanks to Anil for putting it all together, zooming it, if you will. Where's my weed? I don't know what this is, but some part of marijuana. Fairly thick. Lots of red here. Yeah. They might have called it Blue Dream, but so until the next time we cross paths, and you too are under the influence. Thanks for showing up. I'm Marijuana Man. Peace and pot.